How y'all doing today? This is your wonderful founder of God is King movement. And what I want to express to y'all today on YouTube or around the world or any channel that you see this video. The reason why I created this movement, God is King movement, is that in this world right now needs to go back to the basics. The basics is that God is the only king. When you read the Bible or any religion, you will see that God is the king. In fact, I call religions around the world schools of thoughts, because it is the thought that they are generating in your mind. Now, I want you to think about this as you look at this video and ask yourself these questions. I want to read a script to you that I've created for this purpose. And I want you to really analyze the factor and see if there's truth to it. Are you ready? Okay. If I told you to say milk, 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 what do cows drink? What would be your answer? Okay, now we really ready. That was just a hack of the mind to see if you would say cows drink milk. Just imagine you had to pick a religion to live by in this world. What a vast choice of over 4,200 belief systems and over 320 million gods to choose from. Wow. Enough to make your brain go haywire, right? Sure, you will be like Jack in the Shiny, busting down the door. Hi, honey, I'm home. In fact, many religions did exactly that around the world, especially the large ones. And that is pretty scary to believe, right? Well, I did some hopping around the world and discovered a beautiful pattern regardless of these 420 belief systems and 320 million gods. Can you imagine this? This is a serious hopping around. And the pattern that I saw out of these 420 beliefs system plus with the 320 million gods, every religion, what I call the schools of thought, as I told you earlier, teaches one thing in common: one creator over all the gods and goddesses. Therefore, my spiritual movement, well, it's not exactly my spiritual movement. Well, let's say for the physical level of understanding, my spiritual movement is exactly that. God is king. That is the only path and way. You can be what you want to be. You could be a Buddhist. You could be into Shindu. You could be all of that. But God is king. You are the beauty of God's creation, and actually loved a lot. So join today at God is King MVMT at gmail.com. And remember, God chosen you to repair the world. Amen. Thank you very much. Peace and blessings to all the believers in the world. Peace and blessings to all those who into humanitarian that wants the world to be a better place. I think the Jews say it and a certain word that I remember, and also in South Africa. These two words I remember, and if I'm pronounce it wrong, excuse me, and I will try to pronounce it better. But it's called Tukkum Alum in the Jewish, Tikkunolam. Almost sound like Lambert. Lambert. And the other one from South Africa is Mbatu. Having these two principles, I feel by itself, just alone, those two, just alone, can be a very beautiful thing to repair this world from those who see that the world is a place that was never perfected. I mean, when we all go to museums around the world, we see that those people who we claim to cultivate and civilized and so forth like that, when we look at their land, they were in harmony with creation. But like I said, there's a lot of religions out there that are like Jack Nicholson in the movie Shining, running around with an axe, busting down doors, scaring the hell out you, talking about, "Hi, honey, I'm home," and you're terrified. You're like, what type of belief is this? Doing all types of atrocities, and then have the nerves to tell you Umbatu after they did what they did. But this is one thing I want everybody to know in the world. It's not the belief mechanism itself. It could be, but it's not. It's the people. Now, the people have listened to a very unique operation, as CIA would call it, Operation Mindfuck. And excuse me for the word, but that's what it's called. And basically, it's coming from all of those different belief systems. Every one of them have a dark side or shadow side or evil side into their religion. All of them. Every one of them. It is that shadow side, that dark side, that evil side that has us like we do. Now, in the Quran, and some people might not like the Quran or even want to hear the word Islam because of terrorism and these guys going around. Well, every belief did it. Christians did it, and me being quote unquote African American, quote unquote, because I don't believe that anymore no more. But for all intents and purposes on the physical plane, even though I'm in this world, but I'm not of it right about now, if y'all understand that. Christians did it too, Nobody's out there in this world perfect and innocent from killing millions and billions of people. And then expect these people to not have repercussions. Right? I'm not going to get revenge. I'm not going to come after you. What human that that if your family was killed by somebody, that you would not try by all means necessary to kill that person for them killing your family? I cannot fault people from wanting revenge in a sense. But how do you fight back a person that has done so much atrocity to you? And I know you can do the so-called, throw your hands up like in some of the old Egyptian ways. In fact, y'all, this is not Mason. This comes from out of Kemet. Okay? That you can surrender in that sense, But if you do that, trust me, those who believe in the destruction of life will continue to destroy. I don't know if many of y'all ever heard of a bully. I have a term called religious bullyism. There's a lot of religions out there that are bullies in religion. It's either our way or no way. That's not true. God is beyond all of these so-called 4,200 beliefs, all these divisions amongst divisions. And even when you go into the belief itself, right? Say you wanted to be a Christian. Which one would you be? You wanted to go into Judaism. Which one would you be? You wanted to go into Islam. Which one would you be? Buddhism. Which one you would be? Hinduism. Which one you would be? So, to cut all of that out, the picture, I came up with the most beautiful, loving understanding to repair the world. That is, God is King. And that is the only path and the only way. People will say, well, how would I pray? See, I always go back to the Quran because the Quran, Islam has taught me to respect all these other beliefs, believe it or not. Because it's a confirming of all the others. It's a recital to remind you of all the beauty of the Creator and all the prophets around the world. So every religion that was out there originally started from a prophet. And the prophet tried to tell the people the right thing, to remind them about the day of judgment. But many people out there forget that and been deceived by this illusionary world. And now that quantum physics is coming and they talk about quirks popping in and popping out, and we living in a parallel universe and this world is created of illusion, it is a play of amusement. It really could be. Because it's like you in the Matrix, you know, and you Cypher, you up there, you can make me anything you want me to be. Ignorance is bliss. A lot of us believe that. And I remember they said that Hitler quoted that if you tell a lie long enough, eventually people will think it's the truth. So what am I telling y'all? Not a lie. I'm not having you chasing the prophets and the messengers and the gods, sons of gods, or goddess, the daughters of goddess, or none of that. I'm telling you, go back to the one. That's the basics, y'all. And with that, we could cut out all of this ignorance that's running around rapidly. We're fighting for what reason? We dislike each other to the point of hatred. For what reason? I tell somebody before, I say, listen, I love a person who's a racist, but I dislike a person who exhibits racism. I understand that in the animal kingdom, any kingdom in the world, all four of those principles we could talk about: minerals, plants, animals, humans, whatever. Right? We could all talk about these principles and the worlds that they live in, and the worlds that we can live in as well. Well, let's look at these worlds and let's expand these worlds and understand what I mean by I could tolerate somebody who's racist and understand that. Well, let's do this. Let's look into nature or the Netaru. Okay. When we examine a flower, we know there's many flowers. Oh, there's a lot of flowers. Flowers I can't even name. So many. I can name them, but, you know, who cares, right? No, but really, flowers that we know. You see a rose? It's a flower, right? But it's a rose, right? It's distinguished. You see the orchard flower. It's a flower, though, right? But it's distinguished, right? An orchard seed is not going to mate with a rose seed. You're not going to have a rose orchard unless mankind plays with it and then create himself. I'm God. You know, a lot of people actually believe that. Let me tell you something. If you as an individual is God, everything on this planet that was created before us is God too. So we won't drink no water. We won't eat nothing. You know, nothing. Because everything is God. You know, things are meant to help us and we help that. We give, receive, and give back. That's what the whole religion's spirituality is all about. Receiving and delivering and giving back into our world, into our people, into our family, into our community, etc. What animals do is that to preserve their kind, because remember, God created mankind in the image and likeness of the Creator. Amen. And I got to get away from saying him or he and things like that, or she, because the Creator is beyond gender. We understand that by looking at the elements, hearing something called androgynous, studying embryology, and before there was even the female principle, it was androgynous at first, and then it descended into the feminine principle, and then at the end of that root became the masculine principle. This is why a lot of guys have nipples. It's to remind us of the connection that we have with each other. Now, I'm just going to just tipple off on something and I'll get back into the racist thing with nature. But I don't know if y'all can see this or not. But it says neuroscientist confirms that our loved ones become ourselves. Wow. People that are into metaphysics, that are spiritual, that are supposed to be religious, already understand that. So this is dating. I got this in the year 2017. So let's say they did this study not too long ago, a few years, give or take. Look that up. As a matter of fact, look that up for yourself. We already knew that. That's what in the Genesis it talk about. Let no one separate you, the man and woman, for y'all are one. And this is the fault of people. People, man and woman. Woman is within man. Man is within woman. Woman is within man. And man is within woman. When they unite together, they take those principles. It's like a yin and yang. And they fill it up with a circle and it becomes one. When you see yin and yang, you see yin and yang as one. Even though you see the swirls of two, one. Because 1 + 1 is really 1. It's a reflection that you see. See, that's where the word comes illusion. I could go 1 + 1 is 1, and 1 + 1 + 1 + 1 is 1, and 1 + 1 + 1, 1 + 1 is 4. And then I could go, well, how you figure that? I could go 1 + 2 + 3 + 4 = 10, and 1 + 0 = 1 again. I could go on and on and on and on, and it'll go right back to the 1. That's why God is king. God is the only one that we should ever be worshiping. And some people say, well, how are we supposed to worship him? Worship the Creator in the best way you know how. That, some people say, well, then that's crazy. No, it's not. Because we are in the image and likeness of the Creator. When you start to realize that, you'll start to love other people. And some people that you can't get along with, but it's not a thing of we gotta fight. type of thing. You understand? Because there are people out there that have some real issues, you know, some very serious issues. Places like Scientology talk about these people, stuff like that. You know, these different schools of thoughts, I call them. They talk about these types of people, you know, that don't agree with everybody. Because they into racism. They into what Shaitan, Iblis is about. When the Creator told the angels to bow down to Adam. And the angels asked the Creator, you know, why should we bow down? Basically, you know, because they would do bloodshed and everything like that. And the Creator had to make a point, you know. Do you know these things that I know? And of course they would say no, right? Because if you didn't teach me, it's like going to school. If the teacher doesn't teach you what you need to know, you're not going to know it, right? Until you're taught, right? One way or another, right? Rather it be the teacher, books, or whatever outside that, somebody's going to teach you, right? Whether it be nature, etc., right? Okay, so you won't know until then, right? So that means that's speculation. That's called speculation. And so that's what the Creator did. He's like, that's a speculation, you know, and I commend you on that, and I really thank you on that. And this is my creation. I know what they're capable of doing, if only they believe. But why would you want to do that with dealing with Lucifer and what he did? Mind you, he brought down 1/3 of the so-called angels. You know, other people call them jinns. They call them different names. Some might call them Kami, Kami. You know, and these spirits like that. You know, you got to please them, make them happy. You know, that sounds like jinns in a certain sense. Like, you know, or you got to do something, and if you don't do it, they get mad as hell. Wreck your world if you into that world. You know what I mean? Doggone virtually slapping you in your sleep. And there's been paranormal science that explains that. So people wake up and they have bruises and all types of stuff from their dreams. You know, sounds like the Matrix does it. Well, I don't want to get too far about this, about God is King, and just imagine over 4,200 religions to choose from. I just want you to choose this one. God is King. And the only path and the only way is to believe that God is your King. God, and I use that word God because, you know, I'm English, and I know it comes from Germany, and it means evoke. Okay, evoke a king, the king. Okay, I only know of one king, the supreme being. I know a lot of people, they talk about words, but you know what I tell people? I said, you really put the Creator in this small little box of linguistics. You know, you got to be a fool. It's just like looking at the birds, the flowers, everything. They have different fragrance, different sounds, and the Creator speaks to them in all of their sounds and all of their fragrance, and the cultures and all the different cultures and the different language that they speak. The Creator speaks through them all. So the Creator could speak through you regardless of what language is given to you, whether it be captured or not. The Creator can speak to y'all. I want y'all to know that. Why? Because you are created in the image and likeness of God, and you're very special. And God loves you. God, if God didn't love us, God wouldn't send all the beautiful people who try to help humanity. Just think about that. He would have just let the world just go crazy. You know, and thank God that, you know, He allows us each and every day to learn a new lesson. You know, when we make so-called mistakes, those are lessons learned, y'all. Those are what you call experiences. Okay? It's not something that's a failure. When you try, and my mother used to hate that word try too, and don't say that to her. But when you put in your effort, I mean, when you really put it in, and it doesn't go exactly how you want it, perhaps that's not the path that is better for you. You know, you have to find that, and the Jewish legacies, they talk about finding that. You know, you have to go out there and find the pieces that was broken, and repair those pieces, not only in the world but within you. You know, and this is why they study the Kabbalah and the Sufrats and the spears and what they do, like, you know, Shekma, Binah, Keter, and etc. You know, Makuf, which is kingdom, Keter is crown. You know, and when your crown is taken, that's the unity of God. When that's taken, you start to see what is called contending forces, which in the Kabbalah they talk about another thing called the Kalipoth, and that's what you call Thalam. That's straight Satan right there, because Satan's going to produce a duality of God, not a unity of God. The unity of God is in the Kabbalah. The duality of God is in the Kalipoth. And in the Kalipoth, you will recognize you have a balance of good and bad. You will know for sure you're in the Kalipoth, because you be smiting people, haggling them. You do all those attributes that's in the Kalipoth. In fact, the Kalipoth is not the opposite of the Kabbalah, it's the shadow. You know how the moon is the shadow to the earth? Oh, whoa. Whoa. That's what the Kalipoth is. So, y'all have to understand that regardless that we are of different kinds of man, okay? That's women included, okay? Doesn't mean that we should have this superior type of concept. That comes from Satan. Because that's what Satan says. I'm created out of smoke and fire, right? And he's created out of puted black plated mud. That's in the Quran. That's racism. That's where we get it from. So anybody that harbors that, whether it be religion, economics, whatever, you into Satanism. So you are an open enemy to all the believers in the world. So if you float that way, we know how to deal with you, because you're Satan. And the Creator tells you, arm yourself against those type of cahoots, type of people. Because there are people in this world that love Satan. They love demons. They really do. In fact, some of them are hybrids of demons, just like they're hybrids of the Creator here. Still like that thing that you read back in the Bible about, you know, the daughters of earth, the sons of God seeing the daughters of earth look pleasing, and they came unto them. They created hybrids. So there's still that hybrid blood that's going around. You know, and sometimes there's something what I call ether bloodline. And that one there is not seen by measurements of the physical. You have to go a little bit further. People go, what you talking about? Well, it's just like if I told you, y'all all heard of these chakras, right? 7 chakras in the body. If I told you, now there's more chakras than that, you'll look at me like, huh? This guy here, he's Jack Nicholson. Hi, honey, I'm home. Yeah, it's 114 chakras. 114 chakras. And it's claimed that we don't use them all. Can you imagine that? It's like the DNA strand, right? We're locked down what you call spatial perception cube. Locked down. Spiritually. Done. Metaphysically. By word vibrations. I'll go into that another time. That's very deep. It goes into existence, life, and what's is central to you. Okay, but that's what we are locked down into, this cubic space, right? And we don't go outside that space, because anything outside that space is outside our comfort zone. You know, they talk about that, like people entering your personal space. That square, that personal space, that's a square, that personal space that they're talking about. And if you notice something, you get into a very bad thing, which is called a state of heightened suppression. You know, I know people say, "Wow, you saw that in that movie Get Out," right? It's true though. It's a true psychology. So if somebody comes from behind that vulnerability, that or that fear that starts to produce inside of you, is different than when somebody's in front of you and come towards you. You can measure that, but when somebody's behind you, your antennas, yours is like cold red. You know what I'm saying? Ready for battle. Your cortex, everything's, you know, Voltron. You know, you ready. You ready, because people get into your space. But what happens when people are so clever and know how to do that from your energy levels? Remember something. I'm gonna get off very soon, but I want y'all to remember this. Energy is something that cannot be destroyed but transformed, right? That's something Isaac Newton said, right? That's thermodynamics, right? So, do you believe that you are basically more energy than what you see? And if you believe that, then you'll understand that you can never be destroyed. That's why he says, "It is written that ye are gods, because you are created in the image and likeness of God." You might not be God, but you're special to God. This is Lambert C. Davenport, saying peace and blessings to all the believers in the world. Wake up and join together at God is King, MVMT, gmail.com. Leave your name and leave your email and say, "I want to join and help you. And let's help each other repair the world." Amen.